One of the pressing questions of the 20th century is, where did Batman come from? He's my favorite superhero. Bob Kane, the creator of Batman in the 1930s, was 11 when this movie came out. Well, there you go. It's The Bat by Roland West. I want to talk about this movie, review it for a bit, including this new release by Undercrank Productions, and talk about why I think some people on this channel, maybe everybody, would want to see this movie coming up next. So here's The Bat. This is Undercrank Productions' new release. I don't think this movie has been out, certainly not in this crisp a fashion. Maybe you can find sort of a terrible copy on YouTube, but there's been a 2K restoration. I like this company a lot, Ben Model. Just so you know, I have interviewed him on the channel. I've seen him play live several times, live organ, live piano for silent movie festivals. I don't get any sponsorships from this, so this is a pure, honest review, my own judgment, my own actual thoughts. Now, I went out on this Kickstarter campaign because I thought, the only reason was, well, actually two reasons. I like what Model does with Undercrank. He's got very good releases, and this idea of trying to figure out the origins of Batman, and this being one of them. And now that I've watched the movie, I'm like more convinced it's actually pretty crystal clear. This is a major influence on Batman, including like Batman TV shows, the Batman TV show, Batman TV series. In fact, on the cover, you've got this bat icon. Now, I thought this was going to be some kind of gimmick. Not that Ben Model would do that, okay, but a gimmick or a logo that's kind of like playing to the Batman crowd. But actually, that's in the movie, and then Bat Spotlight is in this movie. Now, what is the movie? It's a silent movie, okay? So not everybody loves those. I'm certain my students have somewhat of a problem with them. They're acquired taste, or you like them for historical purposes. In fact, that's how I watch silent movies often, just to like keep up with them, is go, okay, what is this movie going to teach me about 1920s? What's it have to say about its era, its time period? How would an audience take that? I can at least do that sort of analytical distancing, even if I absolutely hate the movie or am bored by it. And I can say, and I really mean this, I was never bored by this movie. I thought it was really, really interesting. And one of the reasons is tone. This is a different tone than probably any of you are used to. And when I mention movies that it's a little bit like them, it's got some flavors, but it's not like anything that's being released that I can think of. I mean, it's a whodunit. It's a mystery movie. The opening title card tells you, the audience, not to reveal who the Bat is. And by the end of the movie, yep, they're going to take the hood off and reveal who the Bat is. So a little bit of Agatha Christie, Sherlock Holmes mystery stuff, which was definitely popular then as well as now. I should add, by the way, the Bat, he's not, or she's not, a good guy in this. Not a crime fighter or vigilante as Batman would become. No, it's a villain, in fact, trying to actually rob a house and get a lot of loot from a giant house. It's a whodunit, it's a mystery, but it's horror. It's got some German expressionist type shots and gothic stuff, which is really fascinating. Oh, good production, good sets here, certainly from the 1920s in my opinion. And with the restoration, this looks crisp and sometimes really fascinating to watch and see these shots pulled off. But actually, it's a farce. Is it camp? Is there such a thing as camp in the 1920s? Farce? I mean, I don't even know how to qualify some of the humorous bits in this. Certainly, I think one flavor of this movie is Clue. A lot of people love the 1980s movie. I did as a kid. I still think it's watchable, and Tim Curry is wonderful in this movie. But it's a little bit like that, where there's some true horror, terror, but really it's a lot of farce jokes in it. I can't even call this movie a screwball comedy, that is The Bat, because, A, they hadn't quite invented screwballs. But if you speed it up, play it on 1.5 times speed, it will kind of sort of look like that. So screwball, farce, horror, whodunit, camp, all in the flavor of the 1920s. I think this movie is frankly a lot of fun, because the whole time these people are worried about an invader, a bat, a person in a bat costume who's been robbing different places, as we see in the beginning. Several places, and then basically you have a single house movie. The back of the Undercrank box even says the popular old house genre. It's not quite a horror movie house, but it is a giant house with over-the-top doorways, door frames, and I've seen this in a number of silent movies where you have house mostly, if not completely, in the picture, and it's being invaded. Sounds like a horror movie, but then there's a lot of farce with the people inside the house trying to figure out who the Bat is, when they're going to get invaded by the Bat. Several detectives and other kinds of figures show up to either help these people or maybe to undermine them. My view of this is, watch this by myself and I really enjoyed it. Would it be better if I watched it with my kids? Yeah, I think it would. Would it be even better with a giant crowd who kind of like silent movies? That would be the best way to watch this movie. If you watch this movie with people who you didn't like black and white or silent films, or you yourself have problems with that, again, it's going to be a little bit of a task or chore. And I should add the scores by Modell, who I don't know if he improvised this, but he's got a classic organ, which is like showing up to a silent movie theater and what the score would have been like at the time. And he likes to do that sort of thing, and he's excellent at it. As always, if you really wanted to, don't tell Ben I said this, but you could replace the score with your own music. If you want to play music from other speakers, something else over the top of this. I'm always liking the experimentalism, so that might be a way to swallow down or consume the silent movie. But other than, the classic silence that people know, Metropolis, the Chaplins, the Keatons, the Lloyds, those sorts of things that are classic and famous and on best of lists. I haven't seen a movie I could take this channel and go, I think many of you, most of you, would actually appreciate this to some degree. I can tell, though, if you were an 11-year-old or a 15-year-old or 20-year-old in the 1920s, and here Bob Kane was 11 years old, I think you would have relished in this movie, just been awed by it, amazed by it. I think it has a lot of touches in it that if this were released today and released for a modern audience and sensibilities, I think some parts of the internet would go nuts about it. If they had an internet in 1926, this would have been a hot movie. It could have been an A24 movie, maybe something like that. I'm not saying you'll love it, but I think you can at least appreciate it if you can sort of stomach silent movies. This was just released. I got the package a couple days ago. It's a Kickstarter contributor, and I think you can go buy this on Undercrank Productions site. Maybe your library will have it eventually. I really like it. I didn't look at the features. It's pretty nicely designed, and it's excellently restored. Modell and whoever helped them did a great job. I'm very happy with this movie. I took a big risk in putting some money into it. Had no idea if I would like it. I can kind of sort of pretty definitively recommend it to a great number of you. You know who you are. If I said anything in this video that was of interest to you, you probably should try to watch this. I think it'll be kind of fun. Oh, and as a Batman fan for me, it was very interesting to see where parts of the mythos came from, how it could be derived from this movie. This is just kind of, even just that is fascinating to think about. So what do you think of this video, the Bat, anything else? Any questions? Let us know in the comments. Please subscribe to this channel for more great content. Thank you. Have a great day.